You are listening to Mining Stock Education, where you'll learn from the top leaders in the natural resource sector and uncover quality mining investment opportunities.
We've got almost $17 million in cash. We were oversubscribed on the deal that we did. We had lead orders from key accounts that certainly could come back and offer us more. Our most exciting targets are really right next door to where we have existing resources. And this Cannard Deformation Zone runs for 100 kilometers. When we sit down with producers, they're looking at Eau Claire and they're looking at Percival, and they're also looking out to the east and what type of discoveries, because we got a big land package. I think our day is coming, and I'm really excited for it.
Welcome back to Mining Stock Education. In today's episode, we're going to be getting an update from Fury Gold Mines, its CEO and director, Tim Clark, and the SVP of Exploration, Brian Atkinson. Gentlemen, welcome back onto the show. And Tim, you have just announced your 2023 exploration plans. You've set the budget between 15 and 20,000 meters. Could you break this down for us, and what are you trying to accomplish here?
Look, I mean, we're trying to do what every other junior is keep advancing our discoveries that we already have. We've got into it pretty good at the end of the last year at the Hinge and Percival, and we would like to keep moving those forward. I think the goal here is to, take the Eau Claire deposit. It's open in all directions, and focusing on the areas where we had success, and also fill in some other areas where we know that we can help build that geological resource and into a better position. But at the same time, junior exploration companies are all about new discoveries. Percival was a big one for us last year. I think there's a lot more to learn on that project. I think it's got some real potential to be a big resource rate later for us. And then at the same time, we've got these new anomalies that we've developed over the past 9 months, and they're real, and they're showing a lot of signs that they could look like our other projects. They're to the east along the Cannard Deformation Zone, and that's sort of blue sky opportunity for us. So that's our goal. We're going to keep a reasonable but tight sort of focus on our spending, and we're focused on Quebec again, and there you go.
You have the drillers all contracted, and what's your cost per meter are you anticipating here?
Brian, this is up to you. This is your
we're all contracted out. We're lined up. Mobilization will happen pretty soon here. So all in costs, including, when we talk all in, we include all our camp costs, all our geochem, all our surface exploration. We're between $350 and $400 a meter all in.
And the assay labs, I know they've been a little slower than we would have wanted the last couple of years. Do you anticipate that to be an issue, or will the speed pick up here?
From what we're hearing so far is that we'll be seeing better turnaround times than previous, but we won't know until that those first shipments sort of hit the lab and we start tracking their turnaround times. But optimistically, we should be looking at quicker turnaround times this year.
So when should investors expect the first round of results from the 2023 program?
I would say, towards the end of May, early June, that sort of window. Yeah.
Also, Bill, just to point out, we've shifted, and we're going out early this year. I think historically we've been sort of the back half of the year with a lot of assay results coming end of the year during tax loss season and whatnot. And we're pretty confident we've got the financial wherewithal to continue if we want to, but we wanted to get an early start and early jump. So we're getting on it.
Brian, do you have all the drill targets laid out, or are you still processing last year's results?
No, we've got pretty good ideas of where we want to go. The way with our technical group operates is we like to keep some optionality if things aren't looking the way we think they're going to look from our models and targeting. So we've got lots of targets. It's target-rich environment. So between following up on what we intercepted in the Hinge last year and gap zone around the deposit, and then out at Percival, we want to be looking, as Tim said, at some of these anomalies that we have along the Percival stratigraphic trend out there, and see if we can get some of those to drill ready. So we're going to keep rolling through and sort of retargeting as as the drill holes are being completed, and we don't see what we think we should be seeing coming out of the holes, we'll be able to adapt to that very quickly.
Will you have ground crews taking chip samples and geochem and also geophysics as well, I would anticipate?
Yeah, we've got fairly good coverage on the geophysics already, but there's definitely some follow-up work to do on some of these anomalies to tighten them up. And so, yeah, we'll have a big summer crew, 5 to 6 people out. I'll be out there. Our exploration manager, David Rivard, will be out there. We've got a solid crew built up in Quebec for the summer. So we'll be really looking to get out there and make a new discovery on top of, drilling out what we already know.
So for the first round of drill results, end of May, early June, how many meters should investors expect to get back at that point?
Well, again, it's, we're going to be a little dependent on lab turnaround times. In the past, we've liked to bundle, 3 or 4 holes together into a news release. So we don't like to put out one hole wonders. We like to, get an understanding of what those holes mean and be able to talk about it in a wholesome approach, as opposed to putting out a news release on a single hole. So expect that sort of range of 3 to 4 holes being included. So 1,500 to 2,000 meters, sort of within that initial news release.
And then end of year goal for the Eau Claire project. Do you have ounces in the ground, a specific goal in your head as the lead geologist here?
We're definitely going to be looking to do a resource update. The current resource that the PEA is based on is a 2017 resource, and then the PEA is 2018. We've added a lot in our minds to that. So I think we'll be seeing the pathway to, I think we've been saying it for the last year, to show that upside potential of 2 million ounces. Whether it's there or not, the actual numbers in the resource or not. But it's open. At the hinge, we've only explored 450 meters of what we've modeled out as the hinge. And in our model, it goes for at least 1 kilometer with the geophysics and mapping that we have. So there's room to extend out there. The westernmost hole in there has left us with 4 meters at 5.75 grams gold in it. So there's lots of room to expand. The downside is to drill it into resource category. It's not super exciting work, and you're drilling 50 meter to 80 meter steps, as opposed to going out and doing these 500 meter steps that we're sort of known for, and building the excitement on it. So there's going to be a balance between the resource drilling and the real expansion and exploration side, for sure.
Tim, you've topped off the Treasury yet again. You've done that. Is this your 4th time since you've been CEO that you've topped off the Treasury, or 5th?
This is our 4th raise. Yeah, okay. 4th raise. Or technically, we had an asset sale was one of them, but 4th. Yeah, this was. Look, we spent a lot of time seeing investors. I love the process. It's kind of what I've known my whole career, and it was great to get out in front of investors who not only owned us but had remembered our story a lot different. It was really kind of interesting. We've got some feedback on the old East Main sort of process, and even early days at Fury, and every one of them was like, this is a completely different story than it was, and it's a completely different management team. We've spent 18 months rejiggering the company in terms of cleaning it up, restructuring it. Rebuilding corporate culture I think is the first thing you do. And I've talked about this in the past. There's been a huge amount of value creation and also relationships that we basically put together with top tier institutional accounts, as well as producers. We're in the mix. We're talking to the right guys. The share price hasn't moved a lot. So, what it tells me is that we need to find some drill results. And that's what the retail market sort of focused on. And as you and I talked about earlier, maybe the perception is to chase some of the lithium or other types of electric vehicle type metals. I know I was down at the BMO conference this spring, and there's a lot of focus on that. But, as I sit here again and I say to myself, where is the value? The value is not in the lithium names right now. It's in the gold. The gold has been laggards in the juniors most of all. We're a company that I would argue is probably the number one, if not one of the top, few that have the treasury that we do. We've got almost $17 million in cash. We were oversubscribed on the deal that we did. We had lead orders from key accounts that certainly could come back and offer us more. I've been asked to basically, give up more stock for other investors that can't get in on the potential retail side. I think there's a lot of demand here that people aren't recognizing, and at least in the retail side. As soon as we hit something, this thing's going to take off, in my view. And I've bought more shares in the last week, and I'm confident. I like the play that we have. We need money to come into the sector on the gold side, like everybody else. But I think from a positioning point, we've got 2 years of financing already in our pocket, and we've proven that we can raise money in bad markets, and bad markets will not stay forever. And I think there was a real potential for the Fed to pause recently, and they didn't with this banking issue. But in my view, it's coming, and we're going to have our day. And what Brian and his team are doing is phenomenal work. I mean, we've developed. When I got here, we were talking a lot about other targets, and now we're pulling it back. And our most exciting targets are really right next door to where we have existing resources. And this Cannard Deformation Zone runs for 100 kilometers. When we sit down with producers, they're looking at Eau Claire and they're looking at Percival, and they're also looking out to the east and what type of discoveries, because we got a big land package. I think our day is coming, and I'm really excited for it.
Excellent. The company is Fury Gold Mines, a longtime sponsor, back to the Oren days. Website is furygoldmines.com. Ticker symbol is FURY in New York or Toronto on the big boards. Brian and Tim, thanks for the update today.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Great.